Okay, let's go ahead and wrap up our discussion about rational expressions. So we're going to conclude this with a discussion of what's called simplifying complex rational expressions. And a complex fraction is just a fraction with fractions within the fraction. So, for example, this is a complex fraction. This is 1/2 in the numerator divided by 3/4 in the denominator. And all that means is what we want to do is we want to take this fraction and divide it by that fraction. So it's the same in essence as 1/2 divided by 3/4. Okay, so this complex fraction means the same as this. So then you're just going to go about what you know to do with division of fractions, and we're going to say, well, that's 1/2 keep times change flip 4/3, and then we would go ahead and multiply. So 1 times 4 over 2 times 3 is 4/6, and then simplify. Take out the factor of 2. We'd end up with 2/3. All right, so when we're talking about a complex rational expression, it's the same thing. We have an expression with another rational expression in either the numerator or the denominator, or potentially both. Okay, so we're going to use the same technique. We're going to take a complex rational expression and we're going to do the same thing. But in order to do the same thing, the first step in this process is we want to rewrite the numerator as a single fraction, which means just taking and making common denominators within the numerator and combining them together. Okay, so we want to rewrite, and we're going to do this for both the numerator and the denominator. Rewrite numerator and denominator as a single expression. Okay, and all that means is use common denominators there. All right, then after you've done that, you've got a fraction over a fraction. You're going to rewrite it as a division problem. And then follow the steps for finding quotients of rational expressions. Oh my gosh, that's some notes. Okay, so I'm going to do some math magic and take this example and move it over here. So, okay, so wasn't that cool? All right, so let's take this and take both the numerator and the denominator and transform them so they have the same denominator. In the numerator, same denominator, and denominator, same denominator, but not the same. Okay, same here, same there, but not necessarily same. Okay, so notice that this numerator has a denominator of x. So I want to multiply this piece of it by x over x, so I end up with a common denominator. So this is going to be x over x times 8. And remember, that's the same as 8 over 1. All right? And so this is going to turn into 8x over x plus 4 over x. Okay? And then we can actually combine those numerators. So that would end up being 8x plus 4 all divided by x. Okay, so I've taken that numerator and written it as a single fraction, a single expression. All right, let's do the same thing for the denominator. Now I've got a denominator of 3 here and 6 here. So I might recognize that all I've got to do is multiply this one by 2 over 2 to make that a denominator of 6. Okay, so if I do that, I'll end up with 2x over 6 plus 1 over 6, also known as 2x plus 1 all divided by 6. Okay, that's the hardest work, okay? Because once you have it as a fraction divided by a fraction, now I can write it as a quotient, this thing divided by this thing, or you could even skip to this thing multiplied by the reciprocal of this thing. Let's do that. Let's be, smart. All right, so this is the same as 8x plus 4 over x multiplied by 6 over 2x plus 1. Remember that when we do a division problem like this, I want to take this and any numerator, any denominator actually, I want to take them and factor them, okay? So this one is the only one that actually factors because it has a common factor of 4. So I can write this as 4 times 2x plus 1. All right, so now we can multiply straight across and we're going to end up with 4 times 2x plus 1 times 6 all over x times 2x plus 1. Okay, what do you see? Hopefully you see a common factor that we can divide out, okay? And if I divide out the 2x plus 1 from the numerator and the denominator, all I'm left with in the numerator is the 4 times the 6. And all I'm left with in the denominator is x. And so I end up with just 24 divided by x as my final result. All right, young men and ladies, you did great. You hung in there with me, and we got all the way through rational expressions. Way to go. All right. I don't know where we're going next. Oh, we're going to calculators. How do we use calculators? That's what we're doing next. I'll see you then.